see. Well, the way I see it is, if you're watching a video on YouTube, would you be cool with it?
Yeah, why not? I think it's more about what the person is saying than how it looks like. I think.
I agree, but yeah, if you ever read YouTube comments and shit, man, the kids that watch this shit, they complain about the stupidest things on earth.
Yeah, okay, but now we got a technical problem, so it's not really our how you say it, our mistake.
Yeah.
It's the it's the technology that doesn't work for us. So
what was the technical problem in Maryland?
what do you mean?
So yeah, you
No.
you duck you ducked the dog in Maryland the last time Severe Torture played.
Yeah, I had a small injury.
Small injury.
Yeah, I had 2 weeks before the American show. There was
Uh-huh.
a truck driver drove over my foot with a 10-ton truck,
Uh-huh.
and I was lucky that I had good shoes on. Otherwise, my foot would be yeah pounded into dust because it was really heavy. Yeah, I was really lucky because nothing happened. It was only yeah black and blue. I got a little infection, and that's it. So I couldn't drink any beer when I was in the United States because I was on antibiotica. So that was a
Uh-huh.
little bit fucked up. But yeah,
Do you know
back
what
to
video
rock.
I'm talking? Do you know what video I'm talking about? Did you see that with Patrick and Tice that I
Yeah,
shot?
yeah. That was cool. We were
Okay.
yelling from the sidelines.
Yeah. I was like, they show up. I'm like, where the hell's Dennis? I was like, he didn't even come over to give a hug, nothing. I was like, I haven't seen the guy in like 20 years. He doesn't even show up. No call, no show.
No, it was their interview. I didn't want to spoil it. So
Oh
too many
man, dude.
people in the interview is maybe too much.
Dude, I didn't even get the fist bump or the hug. Nothing. So Dennis, you remember this? I showed it actually. Did you see? Because that hell, Seth's been on now through Zooms like shit. I don't know, 10 times or so.
I
Uh,
saw him a few times. Yeah.
okay, but the very first one that he came on, I posted this as my thumbnail. Do you remember this? This is the very first time I met you guys. So it was what in 2001. Do you call
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah. I remember Thijs giving you the picture. That was what is it? 2001? Huh? Is it the first? Yeah,
Yeah,
2001. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is
I
where
think
I
we played.
first met you all. This wasn't even at the Ohio Deathfest yet. This was before. It was just a show. Me and my brothers drove up to it was in Pittsburgh, I believe, and you guys played with Burial and I don't think Pessimist played that one because we went up to see Pessimist one year too. But as you guys Burial, do you remember who else you played with?
Can't really remember. It's too long time ago.
Yeah,
No, I
but it
can't
was
remember.
your guys' first time in the States. That's for sure. I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
That's the first time. Yeah, it was really cool. Especially with the guys from Burial. They were really cool guys.
Yeah,
And we met them last year, the year after it when we played Ohio Death Fest. So it was
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. Because
It was fun.
you guys played both years, 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
Ohio
yeah.
Death.
We played two times. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was. I think there's not many bands that play two times in these. Yeah, it was
No, no.
quite unique.
Yeah, because I was at most of them. The first couple that was a little bit before my time. I think like the '97 one that was before my time. But I was at yeah like the '99, 2000, 2001, 2002, and I think the last year Brian did it was maybe 2003, and then he kind of like left the state for a while. Now he's back, and actually he's redoing the Ohio Death Fest this year, and
Nice,
it's collabing with my fest. I'm doing a 1 day fest. He's doing a 1 day fest. So his day is July 31st. Mine will be August 1st, and we booked out the same club.
nice. Oh,
Yeah, so
sounds really good. Sounds really cool.
yeah, it should be really really cool. Yeah, and the guys from it's funny. Devin and Ian from Burial, they're coming out to the show just to come hang out. You know what I mean?
Ah, nice man. Say hi to them from us.
Yeah. Well, they'll see this, especially they watch the channel every day,
Oh,
so
nice, cool.
they'll see this for sure.
Oh, nice, cool. I haven't
Yeah.
seen them in a long time.
Would the last time you seen them then was it then in 2001, 2002?
I think it was 2002. Yeah, last time I saw them.
Oh,
I
so
think
you
so.
haven't seen them ever since then?
Yep. No, maybe no, yeah, I think it's about 2002. Yes, indeed. I think that was the last time I saw them. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's 24 years ago.
Yeah,
God damn,
I know.
we're
That's what I'm
getting
saying.
old.
Yeah. Because how old are you now?
47.
Yeah, shit, dude. You
I'm
guys were all like,
47.
so because in that photo I just showed you, I was
Yeah.
16 in that photo, right?
Yeah,
So
I was
I'm thinking
20, 24. Yeah,
you were
23.
21.
I was 23. Yeah, 23.
Well, how the hell were you 23 if I was six? Because you're 5. I'm 4. I just oh yeah, you're oh, yeah 23. Okay, because
It was in
I just turned
2001.
41. But yeah, but at the time I was thinking all you guys were like way older than me. But now you're 47, I'm 41. Like there's not that big of an age gap.
Yeah, the older you get, it doesn't matter the age, the age difference. I got a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
friends that are like 10 years younger than me, and I got a few friends that are 10 years older. When you're at a certain age, you don't see the age anymore.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how did what did Seth say to you about coming on? Like how did he? Because I don't actually. You correct me. I don't think you're on a single video for YouTube doing like talking or interviews or anything. Are you on any? No, I've never seen one.
This is the first, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
This is actually the first year, and I can't remember that I did a serious interview before. So I think this is the first one.
That's what. So how did Seth convince you to come on?
He just called me and he asked me, and I said yes. So he didn't
Did
do that much convincing, actually.
did you know who the hell he was talking about when you first mentioned it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because
So it's actually an honor to be on the show.
yeah, no, it should be cool. I think the only, especially so, like the original Centurion lineup, the only guy I haven't had on so far is Wim, the drummer, which
Yep.
I'm hoping to. But you'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of guys that either don't reply or they turn it down. They're like, I'm not comfortable talking on camera. I'm like, I mean, just a conversation, dude. You met much of a reclusive weirdo. I mean,
And you don't bite, you know. So it's just a conversation. I like it. I like doing it, actually. This is the
yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
time. So
Yeah, now who knows that you might be doing many more from here on out.
maybe you never know. You
Well,
never
dude, it's
know.
like it's funny because I'm surprised like you haven't been getting hit up because it's funny because you're wearing like an Entombed shirt. So when those bands started, I wasn't there during the origin of them, but in my time frame for my age demographic, I was there from the very beginning of Severe Torture. Well, at least the first album, not the demos and shit. And as you remember, and I remember when Severe Torture did Feasting on Blood, like it was just an underground brutal death metal band. Nobody knew about them. You know what I mean? You had to be in the underground in the know to know about it. But it kind of became news to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. When starting this channel, I knew that the band got more popular over the years and more attendance, but I didn't realize to what level until I started talking about whatever topics got brought up, brutal death metal, etc. And some people were like, dude, like Severe Torture is one of the original brutal death metal kings. I'm like, they are? I was like, I always consider that a new band. Like, what do you mean? Like, I remember when they started. But the kids of today, they look at it like they're one of the originators. I was like, oh, to me, the originators to me was like Cannibal with Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated, Broken Hope with Swamped in Gore,
Yep, yep.
Suffocation.
Suffocation.
So in my mind, it's those bands. But the kids, they put you in the same category, which is great for you guys. And it's not just one or two that said it. Like they've made fun of me a few times. Like, what a fucking idiot! He didn't bring up Deeds of Flesh or Severe Torture.
Yeah, it's that's yeah. I
So
don't know
my
what to
question,
say about it.
that's what I'm saying. Like, what's your take on that? Because again, it
Yeah,
just seems like it does seem like kind of a while ago, but at the same time, it seems like yesterday that Feasting on Blood came out. You guys are a new band, and you're just paying homage to the Cannibals and the Suffos. You were the new band.
mhm,
Like now
indeed.
you're putting the category. You're kind of like putting the same category of those bands by a lot of fans. What do you uh what do you like? Did you ever think that would happen? What's your take on that?
Yeah, maybe it happens naturally because the kids are of course younger and they grow up with different bands that we did when we were younger, of course. So you
Yeah.
have a little discrepancy in what they consider to be the originators maybe from of that metal because they grew up with newer bands that were famous in the time that they grew up. That's
Hmm.
how I think about it. And yeah, I look up to bands like D-Side, Cannibal Corpse. That's the bands that I grew up with when I was young, and
Yeah, yeah,
they grew up with bands like Severe Torture apparently. So
yeah,
it's very cool to hear, of course, that they compare us with the big ones.
yeah.
Because I really like that. I love that.
So it's funny you're wearing a Tomb shirt, like I said. Like literally, I don't know if it was the first time we met or the second time. I remember you wearing a Tomb shirt back then. And the reason I bring that, the reason why it stands out is because, again, for the kids watching, a left hand path or a clandestine shirt back in the early 2000s, they were kind of hard to get. So if you saw someone wearing it, it was basically like an original press, and you didn't see it too often. And the guy that was, it's kind of like, oh, he's wearing the old school shit. And I remember we're just
Hmm.
hanging out and talking, and it was Danny Nelson from Malignancy kind of just walks up, interrupts the conversation like, yeah, look at this guy. He's got class because you're wearing an Entombed shirts.
I love Danny, man. He's a fucking great guy, man.
He's super funny. He's been on the channel a few
Yeah,
times too.
yeah, I love him, man.
Yeah. So, but you see, and the vibe I got from you, um, and then Danny's definitely like this. Uh, I think you kind of like only more so old school bands. Like, do you even like kind of like? I was getting the vibe even when we first met. The newer bands of that time, early 2000s, you weren't even much into those. It seemed like you were just into the originators. Am I wrong on that, or that's the vibe I got?
You're 80% true. It's more yeah, that I 80% it was more the old bands, and then 20% I gave to the newer bands. But I preferred the old bands because yeah, I grew up with them. It's what you're used to. It's the music that you love, and that's why I prefer the old school shit.
Hmm.
It's not that I dislike the other bands. It's just the
Yeah.
preference, you know.
Now,
And
so fast forward another 25 years from that time to today. What's your take on bands that like? Plus, is there any bands in the last that started in the last 5 years that you even give a shit about at all?
I must say that I don't check many new bands anymore.
Right.
I do check YouTube now and then to see some newer bands, but I don't know any new bands at the moment. I'm
So you would
sorry for
say
that.
no? I'm not far behind you. Like I say the same thing in the last. I would say in the last 10 years, I was like, it seems like as far as a new band coming out that I get into, I was like, it's probably one, maybe two per year. So it's not
Yeah, yeah,
nobody, but it's
fair
way,
enough.
way less. It's way less, way less.
Mhm.
And when I say a band that I get into, I'm my statement is meaning like it's something I would go out and I would physically buy it because I'll hear new bands, some new stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I was like, but it's whatever. It's like the same old, same old. I was like, it's nothing I would go out and buy.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I have the same a little bit like that, like that. And I also have a lot of CDs already, and I have the music that I like, so I don't see the reason to buy even more for me then, in
yeah,
my point of view.
yeah.
But
Now,
I still like to go to shows. I went to a show last night. There were a few newer bands. I like to watch that. So that's the way I should try to support the bands instead
yeah,
of
it's
buying
funny.
it and listen to it.
Yes,
But,
because we almost shot this yesterday. We were talking about it, and yeah, you said you were going to a show. What bands were playing last night that you saw?
it was a pretty diverse evening actually. It was a thrash metal band. It was a power metal band, and what was the other band? It was a punk band. So it was pretty
Do,
diverse.
do those bands have any names?
The first band was a local band, was pretty young guys. I don't remember the name. The second band was Velozza. It's a thrash metal band from the area where I live. It's a little bit old school thrash metal in the vein of Exodus and Sacred Reich and that style. I like that style actually. I like uh, I like
Okay,
uh, I like a lot. I like a lot of old school thrash metal bands.
so you like Sacred Reich?
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
The
so
first two albums. First two
yeah,
albums.
that's dude. Sacred Reich was that was the band that got me, Eric and Chase. The brothers that own Hell's Headbangers. That you met us back in the day multiple times. That was
Hmm.
Sacred Reich was the first metal band we ever heard.
I love the first one, man. First one
Yeah,
is really good.
I say Ignorance is one of the greatest thrash albums ever. But again, when I heard that, I was 10 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty old, the album. I heard it later as well because in '88 I was like 10 years old, a little bit too young.
Yeah, no,
So
I
I
heard it
heard it
much
a
later.
few
That when I
years
so when
later.
I was 10, so I heard it. If I was 10, I heard it in '95. But what I'm saying is like most people, the first band they hear is like if it's metal, it's either Iron Maiden or Slayer or Metallica. And whenever I tell anyone Sacred Reich, they're like, "What the hell? Like, how is that the first one you heard?" I'm like, "The cassettes landed in our lap, and that's how we heard it." Like,
Indeed,
yeah, it is
indeed.
a weird pick. You would think you would hear Metallica or something first, but it's like, no, yeah, we heard Sacred Reich first.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I love that band. There's some more thrash metal bands. I like Exodus. I like Slayer, of course. The old Slayer, old Metallica, that kind of stuff.
So what do you think about what do you think about Seth? He thinks nothing by Slayer is good. Says it's all junk.
Yeah, but that's because he primarily dislikes Tom Araya's vocals.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't like the vocals, then yeah, it's pretty in your face, the vocals. So if you don't like them, yeah, then it's hard to like the rest as well, I think. But
Well,
yeah, I
speak
like Slayer, especially Halloween and Rain and Blood. They're
correct, yeah.
classics. Classic.
Yeah, the first three, yeah, Show No Mercy, Hell Awaits, and Rain of Blood, I think are some of the greatest metal albums ever written.
Yeah, I think Rain and Blood is like a little bit proto death metal because of the
That's a lot of
riffing.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of vocals, I'm getting the vibe. You guys from the severe torture camp slash Centurion camp. I didn't ask everyone, but I talked to Niels and stuff like that, and then Rob, and I didn't even ask Seth because I forgot, and I automatically assumed it was a no. What is your take on like King Diamond, Merciful Fate? Like, do you like any of that? I get the vibe none of you guys like it.
When I was young, I didn't like it, and now I like it. I went to King Diamond show like 4 months ago.
Yeah, how was
Yeah, it
that?
was really good. Yeah, I like that stuff, especially the riffs and all that stuff. The vocals I had
Yeah,
to get used to through a lot of years, but the music, in my opinion, was always good. So
yeah, I loved it from day
and I
one.
got used to the vocals, and now I do like it. I don't play it that often because you have to be in the mood for that music. But yeah, I do like some King Diamond.
Yeah, yeah, it's like Merciful Fate, King Diamond. That's like my all-time favorite
Yeah,
band, probably.
yeah,
Like King.
is it? Yeah,
Yeah, but I heard
yeah.
again. I heard that very young, very very young, and I saw Merciful Fate for the first time in 1999. So I was 14 when I'm already seeing them live,
Mm.
and I just thought King's voice sounded. Even when I first heard it as a kid, I just thought it was amazing, and the fact that he did all the different vocals, even the female parts, I just thought it sounded fucking satanic as fuck.
Yeah,
I
and
loved it.
he still has a good voice, man. The guy's almost 70, and
Yeah,
I was amazed at how good his voice still was. He had a backing vocalist, a female backing vocalist.
that's his wife. That's his wife. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. So
Yeah.
now I know. But
Now, well,
yeah, he has still has.
I could be wrong, but it was because like the first album she sang on was when right after they got married was the Puppet Master, and that was I believe 2008, and she was doing all the backing vocals on Puppet Master, and then the album after that, Give Me Your Soul Please, and those tours and all the following tours, she was doing backing vocals. So unless they got divorced or something, and he got a new
Mhm.
female, maybe he's banging her, maybe he's not, then it's still her. But from the first time he ever got a female backing vocalist was when he had his wife, and that was part. I mean, she does a good job. I kind of didn't like it though because albums like The Eye and stuff, where there's the parts with the witches, King always did the female vocals, so I always thought it was cool when he did it. And I was like, you
Mhm.
didn't need a female vocalist, but I get it. It's his wife, and I think she did a good job. But to my knowledge, if they're still together, then that's his wife that's doing it currently. But it definitely was her for 100% for sure.
But yeah, it's amazing how good he sings still at such a high age because there's many of the old school vocalists from the 80s that did the high screams that they can do it anymore. So and he can do it, still can do it. So it's quite amazing actually. So
It,
it's
speaking of that, what's your take? Which obviously he's a huge influence um, on Chris Barnes. Because obviously the Cannibals, it's amazing. Well, I guess two-part question. What's the last thing you like that Chris sings on? I'm assuming you have a cutoff. I could be wrong on that, but it's an educated guess. And then his vocals in the last 20 years sound significantly different. Now, it's obvious in the Cannibal days and even the first couple 6 feet, he was intentionally changing his vocals because they're different on
Mhm.
every album, literally. So that was intentional. But I don't think in the last 20 years or so it was intentional. What is your take on him, his vocal? Because I'm asking you as a vocalist and a fan. So two parts.
Mhm.
What's your cutoff? What's the last thing you like that Chris sings on? And why do you think his vocals are drastically different now?
At the last that I listened was I think the Haunted, the first album from Six Feet Under. I was never a big Six Feet Under fan actually,
Okay.
and the Bleeding is older work I love, of course. It's what I grew up with, and yeah, it's really cool. But and his vocal deterioration, I don't know, maybe. he plays too often. Maybe I have no idea, man. I have no idea why it's happening. Maybe it happens to me in a few years. You never know. So
Well,
I
actually,
have to be
I
careful
was
for
going
that.
to ask you that. That was my number one question I was going to ask you that's band related. From especially the first two albums to especially the last album. And fans told me like, yeah, why didn't you ask Dennis? I was like, because he wasn't on the. I was like, he wasn't on the video, the Maryland one. Like, why don't you ask him why he changed his vocals, especially on the new record? But they kind of on Slaughter and shit. There, you could tell there's a progression. But on the first two albums, Feasting on Blood and Misanthropic Carnage, your vocal style is definitely different than it is on this last record, like for
Yeah,
sure.
that's true. Yeah, that was a little bit intentional, of course. The first album, especially, I was trying to sound as more brutal as possible, and to make it as unrecognizable as possible, almost. And the second album was a little bit more recognizable, and then after that, I tried to be, yeah, to be brutal but understandable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not completely guttural noise.
Now, do you think that's just a maturity thing as you're getting older, or that's because you just wanted each album to sound a little different? So you're like,
Yeah, I think it happened a little bit naturally because the music was also changing a little bit, and I think that was the reason. The vocals changed along with the music. I don't think the really brutal vocals of the first album would fit newer albums, in my opinion, because the music
now,
is a little different. We
if
didn't
you had
try
to
to be
go,
as brutal as possible.
if you had to
And
go, if you had to go back, do you think you could still do the vocals like you did on the first couple?
I think when I have to try again, but I think I can. Some
Okay.
I try to when we play the songs from the first album live. I try
Yeah.
to get as close as possible to the old vocal sound.
So you do
But
try to so live you do try to change the vocals
yeah, yeah,
for
I
each
try
album
to
there.
yeah, I try that a little bit. I don't know if it works, but I try it at least. So,
It's funny because I personally have not. Have you heard any like somebody getting a good live recording it and like play it back and see how you sound if you could tell a difference or not? Have you ever heard any recordings?
yeah, well, most of the time we have our own sound engineer with us, and most of the time he makes a video of the whole show when he's standing behind the booth. So
So did you ever
yeah,
did you go
yeah, I always watch it
so
and try to see.
how do you think you did? Do you think you changed it up enough that like it was good?
I think I did a good job.
Okay. All
I did
right,
a good
fair
job.
enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I try it, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't work, but most of the time it works. I think so.
Yeah, because I watched you guys were one of the few bands. I think most of the times I'm working and I'm doing interviews and talking to fans and stuff at Maryland, but
Mhm.
I duck out to watch. There's certain bands that I want to watch. Like this coming year, I want to watch Grave. I want to watch The Crown. I want to watch God Dethroned. But the year you guys played, I did watch your set. Yeah, I thought it was good, and I liked the new album too. I bought the LP of the new album at Maryland because it like just came out that weekend, or maybe it wasn't even out yet. It was coming out the following week, but
It came out the 7th of June, if I'm not mistaken, and
yeah,
I'm
so it
not.
wasn't even it was considered like not even out yet because Maryland
Yeah.
is the last week of May. So I got it in
Mhm.
advance. I bought the LP there.
Yeah, I think we had a few LPs that we could sell on the festival pre just a few days before the official release. But
Somebody
I'm
was selling it
not
because
quite
that's where
clear
I
about
bought
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah. It should be something like that, yeah. Otherwise, it's not possible, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Well, you guys, how many times did you play Maryland now?
three
Twice for
times,
sure. How many?
three times. The
Okay,
first
because I
time
saw
was
you
2006.
2006.
Yeah, it was a different
Oh,
venue.
okay, so then the times I saw you was 20
2016, I think.
2016. Yep, and
Yeah,
then this past one was it? What were you 2023? Whatever it was.
24, I believe. 20. Yeah, 24. Yeah,
24. Okay.
it was
Yeah.
24. Yeah.
But other
Time
than that,
flies by, man. Time flies by. It goes so fast.
that it does, yeah. But other than that, like you guys haven't I mean there's the first 2001, 2002, but other than that, like you guys since then haven't done a ton of US touring, have you? Unless it's something I'm unaware of.
No, we didn't do any touring at all after 2002. We did the Bloodletting tour, and after that we did a few shows, and that's it actually.
So okay, yeah, with that being said, because since your guys are like a notable band, you carried on, you've done several albums since. why do you think you haven't? Like, even like, I'm surprised like offers haven't come in. Like, hey, do you want to tour with Immolation or Incantation, that type of shit? Like, as a
Mhm.
supporting band, like, I'm very surprised that you wouldn't have been asked, or maybe you
Yeah,
were and you turned it down.
I'm not aware that we got asked by those bands, but I think we had some botched tours in the past. But I'm not. My memory doesn't serve me right. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I think there was some botched tours that that would go on, but for some reason they got cancelled. But, I can't remember what bands it was and what time it was. It was a long time ago, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, it would be cool if we could return to the United States a little bit more.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll throw you a bone, Dennis. In 2027, if I do a Dead by Dog Volume 3, I did Volume 1 this past June, and then which I bring at least so far I'm just bringing in one overseas band. This past one I brought an Attic from Germany, which if you like Merciful Fate or King Diamond, I highly recommend checking them. Attic from Germany is my favorite band in the 2000s ever. Um, the singer is the most
Talk about.
closely sounding to King Diamond you'll ever hear in your life. His vocals are amazing. Some people hate it because they're like, dude, what the fuck? This sounds exactly like King Diamond. But to me, amazing band. It was the second time they ever been in the States for a second show. So I did that this past June, August 1st. Tickets in the description box, bubbles. I'm doing my volume 2. Like I said, it's teamed up with Ohio Deathfest, and I'm bringing in from Denmark Denial of God, which is one of my favorite black metal bands. They've never been to the U.S. ever, never ever.
Denial of
Um,
God.
yeah,
It's a Danish band, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
They've been around since '92, and they've never been to the U.S. ever in their entire life. So they're doing my show and then just flying home, just a one-off show. I have their
Nice.
visas. I have their visas. They're already at the U.S. The U.S. for approval or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so got their visas, and then once those are approved, I'll get their flights. So that's August 1st of this year. If all goes well, which I'm very confident it will, 2027. Who knows? I'll bring in Severe Torture. How's that sound?
That sounds very good. That sounds very good. Yeah, I think we will absolutely do that. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Yep.
just send it over. We'll have it. We'll check it with the other bandmates. But I think that's a very good offer.
It's funny is because I don't think obviously they could heard from you is I was talking through Seth. He recommended the venue. I forget what the hell it's called. I was talking about doing this year's that I was doing, but this was 6 months ago or so, so it would have been well in a year in advance. I was talking about doing my Dead by Dog Volume 2 in Howland. And the reason I did is because Seth invited me out to like just hang out. Like actually I think it's the last time you saw him. It was at his birthday barbecue.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's May, I believe. Yeah.
he said it like randomly. He's like, "Yeah, you should come on out." I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? I need more than 2 weeks notice." And I was like, "Well, tell you what, dude. If I ever came out and stayed, I was like, I kind of want to do something productive. I was like, maybe I'll put on a show or something because I have a lot of fans to the channel and stuff that'll, they like to come up to me and stuff, but they're overseas. I was like, I could just host a show out there. I was like, and a lot of bands that I like over there. Now I don't have to get visas, and the ones that have to fly, it'll be even cheaper because it's closer, right?
Hmm.
So I was gonna do it. Right. I talked to the venue. Rudy or Rude was the one that runs it. You probably you know the clubs. The one Seth recommended it. I forget the name of it though.
Yeah, that's a good one. Is it Tilburg, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's Rit Lemon, the guy
Okay.
you mean. He used to work in the 013. I think that's the guy you mean. But I'm not.
Maybe, yeah. So I was talking the club, everything. I was like, yeah, I could agree to all those terms. Those sound great. The only reason
Mhm.
it fell through not doing it is because a bunch of bands that I wanted to play, I couldn't get a solid answer. I'm like, well, dude, I need answers on like commitments. Otherwise,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not flying over there myself and taking a
yeah.
chance on a
Indeed.
foreign country. But anyways, um,
That's a little bit too risky.
yeah. But I was gonna have Severe Torture play it as well, so it would have been like the local band. And I was talking to Patrick. Me and Patrick were texting back and forth. He's like, "Yeah, hit up our guys that was a booking agent."
Our booking agent, Avocado.
Yeah, he's like, talk to him, but he's like, but yeah, I think we could do it. But nonetheless, I was talking about doing this year's in Howland, and I was going to have Severe Torture play, and because Seth, even brought it up. I was like, yeah, I would love to, but I was like, the only thing I was like, Severe Torture, don't they play there all the time? It's like, no. He's like, they haven't played here in a while. I'm like, oh, if that's the
Mhm.
case, then cool. I just figured all the guys from Howland would be like, what the fuck, man? This is a local band. I just saw them last week.
Yeah, yeah. That's not.
Well,
No. Yeah, we don't play that many times in the Netherlands.
so I guess that's actually I'm kind of surprised by that. Like, why don't you guys?
I have no idea actually. This year we have a few actually. We have like four, something like that. But the last few years, I don't know. Maybe we didn't have any. I don't know. I have no idea actually. Maybe they not interested. Maybe we didn't get any offers or so. I don't know actually.
So you, so it sounds like to me, you just kind of show up to wherever the other guys set it up, and you just show up whatever the date is. Is that about
Yep,
accurate?
yep.
Okay.
No, no, no. No, but I have a hard time remembering dates and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I always have to check on the agenda.
Well, you said, what do you do for work then? You said your phone's all fucked up from the dust. What do you?
I work in a paper factory.
Okay,
We
but
uh, we make paper and we make paper rolls from it, and there's a lot of dust coming from it. So it gets
okay,
into everything. It gets into your pockets. It gets in everywhere. So it also gets into your phone, if you want it or not. So at the end, your mic is gonna get fucked up.
that's why your mic is fucked up.
Yep, yep, yep. That's the whole reason. And
so
it's a
so
pretty
they
cheap,
are.
and probably it's a pretty goddamn cheap phone. So maybe that's the reason why it got clogged up pretty fast.
Oh, okay. You know what you probably should do is when you get a new phone, is when you take it with you, put it in like a Ziploc sandwich bag, seal it,
Yeah,
and then put that in your pocket.
yeah, okay. That's something I can do. But even there is gonna be dust. It's such fine dust. It's gonna be
Uh-huh.
going through everything. So maybe it's better that I leave it in my locker.
So you
But
don't
yeah,
yeah,
it
you
is
said
what it is.
you said you wear a mask, but even the mask, is that enough to get the like I figure you're breathing that shit in.
If I have to go inside the machine, I have to when I have the have to clean the machine. I also have to work a mask. But if you're outside the machine, then you don't have to have the mask on, of course. Otherwise, it would be a little bit too extreme.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty dusty, and it's better for your lungs when you have the mask on.
Okay. How long have you done that for?
I had my 25th anniversary last year,
So you were
so
basically just starting there around the time you came to Ohio Deathfest and stuff.
I think I joined Severe Torture before I started working there. I think half a year, something like that, maybe a year, something like that. I think yeah. No, a little bit later, a little bit later. Yeah, but something around that age. Yeah,
But
but yeah,
Severe Torture, like the when you joined, then it was who was all the original members? What was it? Seth and Patrick, and then who else?
chat Patrick and Thijs, and you also had the Jelle. It was the second guitar player.
Then who did vocals when you weren't doing it?
Eric De Wind. He also joined Sinister.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what's the name of that album again?
Is that the Aggressive Measures album?
Yes, that's the one. Yep,
Yeah, because
that's the one with Eric.
that's the last Sinister that I really liked. I liked the first one with Rachel singing the Creative Killings.
Hmm.
But that was the last one I liked. But my last one I really, really liked was Aggressive Measures. But the first Rachel one, Creative Killings, I like that one too. The second one with her, I was like, it's kind of boring. And then the rest of the albums, to me, it was like a different band. It just doesn't even sound anything like the band used to sound like.
Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Well, how often do you? Because those are like those are your guys are the home. Those are your guys' home country band. Like,
Yeah. 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 And I think it was '97 that Eric joined Sinister. Maybe the beginning of '98. And then in the beginning of '98, we were on a Dynamo Festival in Eindhoven. I don't know if you know the festival. It
I
doesn't
know of
exist
it. Yeah,
anymore.
I know the name, of course, but yeah, I never.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. And that's where I met the guys. I was sitting on a campsite next to a set at Patrick and Thijs. That's how I met them. It was on the Dynamo Festival. It used to be the biggest European metal festival, but it doesn't. The last time the real edition was in '98, I think. So it's quite old. But it used to be a really good festival.
Yeah.
A lot of big bands. Saw Pantera there, Death, yeah, and many more. A lot of thrash metal bands. So it was good times, good times.
Yeah, it's funny because you met Sinister right around the same time I did then, because I met them and saw them for the first time in '99, and it was when Aggressive Measures was the new album, and they were touring with Rotting Christ, and there was like 20 people there.
Okay. Oh,
It
how
was
did
actually
that
at the
happen?
same dude. It was at the same venue, actually, the Flying Machine, the same venue that Ohio Deathfest was at. That's where the show was.
Does Are there still any shows in that venue, or is it
Dude,
closed down?
I haven't been there in over 20 years, and to my knowledge, I think it's bulldozed, but the owner Mitch, I don't know if you remember him, and he was a total dickhead. He died in his sleep like shit 15 years ago or so at least.
Okay, okay. Because I remember it was already a pretty old place back then. So I can
Yeah, and it was
remember.
out in the you remember it was out in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, yeah, with a big parking lot outside.
Uh-huh.
I remember everybody was smoking weed outside, and then the cops showed up, and everybody was like inside. Then the
Hmm.
cops went inside. Yeah,
Yeah,
this was back in the
because you're like, for the people that don't know, you were parked like it wasn't like a parking lot. You were parked on like grass.
I cannot remember that clearly because it's so long time ago, and we were
Yeah.
heavy drinking back then, So the
Yeah.
memory corrodes a little bit, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty big parking lot where everybody was having a beer and all that stuff. That's
That
that's
sounds
the only
fun.
thing. That's the only thing I can remember actually. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
the problem was back in the day that we drank a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean too much, really too much, like heavy booze, beer, all that shit, and then yeah, then your memory corrodes a little bit. So I have a pretty hard time remembering a lot of those shows actually. That's
Do
yeah,
you
pretty fucked up. Pretty
when
fucked up
you
if I look back.
well back then would you start drinking even before you started playing?
No, no, no. I never played drunk. I always waited after the show. But the good thing was back in the day we were a small band. You always have to play early, so
Yeah.
that after when you're
Yeah.
finished, you can go boozing. So
What do you think? Because there's some bands. Because exactly, if I was in a band, I would do the same. I'm like, yeah, that's just irresponsible. Like getting on stage, like people pay to see you. Like, what the fuck? What do you think of
yeah, yeah.
bands that go on stage that hammered? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't like it actually. They have to do it. If they want to do it, they can do it. But I don't do it. My opinion is that I don't like it because indeed, like you said, people pay money for the show, and then you fuck up the whole show. No, no.
No.
That's just yeah. No, no, I don't do that. That's why I never did it, and I
Yeah.
will never do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I smoke a joint before the show, but that's something different, in my opinion.
Is that what you're smoking? You were smoking earlier. Is that what you're smoking weed? Or you
Yeah,
smoking?
yeah, yeah. Of course, I don't smoke. I don't smoke tobacco this week.
Okay. Because I know Seth smokes a lot of tobacco.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does. Yeah, he's the real deal. When it comes to weed, yeah,
is,
he
is he
smokes a lot. Man.
is he the only one in the band that smokes tobacco?
No, I used to smoke tobacco as well, but
Okay.
but I only smoke joints, so I don't smoke any cigarettes anymore. My father died a few years ago from lung cancer. And that was
Okay.
the easiest way to stop smoking, to
Yeah. When you
stop
see,
smoking tobacco.
you stopped just a few years ago now. Then.
Yeah, yeah. And now I want to just try to smoke it pure without the tobacco. So that's
Okay.
better for me. At
Yeah.
least then
Oh,
I
so
don't have to use the tobacco.
Seth
It's
taught
not
me
better for you. It's not better for you. Of course, it's bullshit, but it's not that bad when you use tobacco as well.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like the only person in the world that doesn't smoke weed because it's just like I've tried it the only few times. Dude, I didn't try weed. The first time I tried smoking weed, I was like 30 years old. And when I tried it, I'm like, this shit sucks. I was like, I'm just fucking tired. And then people were like, oh, well, you didn't try the right strand. And I tried it three other times from three different people. I'm like, I'm still tired. I was like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
I was like,
If it
people
doesn't
said,
work the first time, it doesn't work the other time. So
well, people keep telling me like, oh, but you just smoked the wrong strand. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I was like, I got it from four different people. I was like, maybe they're all smoking the same strand. I was like, and if they are, why the fuck are they smoking the sleepy strand? Like, why the fuck would you want that? I was like,
the sleepy
this is fucking
strand.
sucks. I was like, I want something that's gonna give me energy, not fucking make me tired.
Yeah, but you don't want to smoke weed when you need energy, man. That's not the real not the real purpose of the plant, I think.
Oh well, dude, I'm doing all this go getting over here, man. I do all this working, dude. That I got to have energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it has a different effect on different people.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
When I smoke weed, I just yeah, I get a lot of energy actually. I start doing shit around the house, cleaning up
Yeah,
and
that's
all
what I
that good
mean.
shit.
I know people that I have friends and stuff that smoke weed. They tell me the same thing. I'm like, the fuck, dude. I was like, I was tired as fuck.
Yeah, that's the beginning. In the beginning, it's always very harsh and very strong. It's the same
Oh,
like
okay.
we started drinking whiskey out of nowhere. It's the same
Okay,
like that.
maybe if I did it more times than that, maybe I'd start feeling good on it. Because yeah, I was like, I'm just ready to go to bed. I was like, this shit sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
fuck
so. Yeah, I
this.
think you have to get a little bit used to it. That's the
Okay,
thing I think. Yeah, the same
okay.
with drinking. I think in the
And the
beginning,
last,
when you're young, you cannot have that much, but when you're older, you can almost drink half a case of beer without any trouble.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, dude, the last time I tried it, it was kind of recently, because it's funny you brought up the Ohio Death Fest and people were smoking weed, and the cops came, right? But in the
Yeah.
last, I don't know, was it? It's been 2 years ago or something. I don't know. I'm sure everybody in the comments can correct me. But 2 years ago or so, weed became it's legal now in Ohio. Like so there's all these outlets that sell it, right?
Hmm.
And so we went to one of the outlet stores. You buy it legally, and because my wife Lindsay, she wanted to try some strands for like helping her relax to go to sleep and stuff. So we went in and bought a few things, right? And before bed one night, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll try it with you, cool." And it's been I don't know 5 or 6 years since I tried weed, and I took a couple hits through a pipe. And keep in mind, like I'll smoke tobacco sociably, like with a beer or so. I mean, I don't walk around smoking tobacco by any stretch, you know what I mean? But if I'm out having
Hmm.
a beer or something, I think it goes well with it. So I have some exposure to smoking, right? So it's not like completely no exposure. But
Hmm.
like when I smoked the fucking weed through the pipe, dude, holy fuck, man, my lungs felt like the blowtorch slaughter, brah. I was like, and they say this shit ain't worse for your lungs. I was like, there's no fucking way. I was like, I felt like I just goddamn swallowed broken
It's not good. It's not
glass.
good for the lungs, man.
Dude, I
No,
was
no.
choking my ass off. I was like, I've never had a cigarette that was this strong in my lungs ever. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, my chest physically hurt for like 30 seconds. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's why many people roll tobacco inside of the joints. So it
Oh, okay.
doesn't
Because yeah, dude, I
doesn't do
didn't
that
like that
bad.
at all. I was like, dude, I
Yeah,
literally felt like I just like inhaled goddamn dragon fire. I was like, what the
but
fuck?
yeah, with a pipe and a good chunk of weed, and you give a hard hit, yeah, then you're gonna feel it, man. That's
Hmm.
that's inevitable.
Okay. Yes, I didn't like that. I was laughing my ass off because I know a lot of guys are like, no, dude, smoking weed, it ain't bad for your lungs. Only smoking tobacco is. And when I tried that, I'm like, fuck, it's not bad for your lungs, bro. I was like, there's no way what I tried is not bad for your lungs. I was like, I don't need a doctor or a scientist to tell me that this ain't bad. I was like, I could tell it's fucking bad.
Yeah, it's just bullshit that they say it's not bad because everything you burn and you inhale is bad for your lungs. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
That's just them coping to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's maybe just as bad as tobacco, but maybe when you mix it, maybe it's a little bit worse. But I think it's just as bad because when you burn shit and you're gonna inhale it, it's not good for the lungs. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask, fuck, what was it? There was something that came up that, oh yeah, yeah. So I wanted to get your reaction because I asked the other guys when Seth let you guys know that he was quitting severe torture. What was your take on that?
What our take was on, yeah, we felt it a little bit coming already, a few years before he made that decision.
Okay, so you weren't shocked.
No, 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 we weren't shocked. No, not at all. And we're still good friends afterwards. Everybody in the band just still get along like we're like nothing happened actually. So that's a good thing in my opinion. But no, we weren't shocked that it happened because yeah, we felt it a little bit coming. So then you can get a little bit used to it. Huh?
Yeah. So now, with that being said, when he officially told you guys, did you automatically know who you're going to ask for a replacement? You're just like, oh, or were you guys like, oh, we'll ask
No.
around, we'll see.
Yeah, we have to ask around indeed. Yeah, we didn't have any clue to ask. So in a few months we get some candidates and then we made a decision. But right in the beginning we didn't have any clue.
Who is because your current guy? I've never met him. Now I'm assuming since Seth left, he's been in the band ever since. Like you haven't had more than one replacement.
No, just him. Yeah,
And
yeah.
what's his name?
Damien.
Damien. Okay, because he didn't come say hi at Maryland either.
Oh,
So
okay.
what so I never met him. He's the only one in the band, but he's the only member change since the first album, not counting demos and shit. That's a pretty damn good, strong going lineup. Because as you know, you being a fan of older bands, I mean, dude, look at like Incantation and Monstrosity. Holy fuck! You want to talk about lineup changes? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
3 out of 4 original guys with only one drummer change. That's pretty damn impressive. Like,
Yeah,
what,
that's a good run like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
what do you guys attribute that to? Just the fact that you're all friends and you get along? Because
Yeah. We all have the noses pointing the same direction. Also, when
okay,
we go, yeah, that's really cool. It's the same when we go to shows and we have spare time after the show or before the show. We go into the city. We have dinner together. We have laughs. We have beers and all that stuff. It's just good times. That's why we maintain it so long.
is there
Good
any
times
one
have
guy?
to be the good times have to be the main priority, and it will be good.
Is there any guy in the band that's the? I get the vibe that there's nobody that's a complete liability. But is there anybody that, if there's one guy that you have to keep an eye on, like he's the most risky because maybe he gets drunk and does something stupid.
No,
Hell, maybe you're the guy.
we no. I used to be that guy, but no, not anymore. No. But no, we all matured. We have all getting older a little bit, and we don't drink that much anymore. And
Okay.
it's how do you say it? A little boring maybe when you compare it to our younger days. But hey, you grow older. It is what it is.
You're like boring old men now.
No. Maybe
Well,
maybe when people that don't know us they compare us the old and the new one, maybe then yes, but yeah, it's just naturally that you grow older, that you get a little bit more yeah, quiet, a little bit more restrained. Maybe
yeah,
that's a good word. But yeah, it goes naturally.
yeah.
I cannot think that I would still drink as much when I was like 24 because yeah, I don't want to have a hangover for 3 fucking days. That's good
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, no, 100%. Well,
Yeah.
what year did you hack the shag off?
What do you mean by that?
What year did you cut your hair?
Phew, I think it was 27. So that's now 20 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I was
Oh,
drying out like the Sahara, man. I was like getting rid of it. No,
so it's
it's
like
too bad.
fall your hair was falling out is what you're saying.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit bald. So
So yeah,
it was a good
now
it
you
was a
just
good
shave.
time to say goodbye to the hairs that were still
Now
left.
now do you miss those days or is life much easier?
Yeah, life is much easier, of course, but I still do miss the long hair, even after
Oh,
20 years.
now how do you
It was a necessary thing to do, but if I still had the good hair, I still had long hair. That's the way it is.
yeah,
But
kind of
yeah,
same. Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat because I mean, like I cut my hair years and years ago. Granted, I haven't fully lost it yet, but it's damn close, right? It's getting there. But yeah, it definitely made life easier. But it's
mhm.
easier for me because I'm not in a band. Like obviously having long hair in a band, it's more preferred. Like especially you're the front man. Did you
Yeah,
kind of notice like
the first show. I really had to get used to it. The first
that's
few
how
shows.
okay. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, normally you're banging your head off, and all of a sudden it's all gone. It's like, okay, what should I do now?
That's like dude. Imagine seeing a corpse grinder. Imagine if he had to shave his head. What would he do?
Yeah, what it would looks pretty strange. It would windmill with a bald head.
Exactly. Do you
Yeah,
like because obviously you guys had a big you know influence from Cannibal Corpse, how you even covered Hammer Smash Face and Perverse Suffering. Um
yeah. In the beginning, we also covered "Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead." In the beginning, when we played live shows, we did
but
some B-side
you
songs.
guys that's not recorded on anything, is it?
No. Just, I think the first maybe 10, 20 shows we did a few covers,
Okay,
and
because
the
I
rest.
never heard I never heard you guys do Staring. Hammer Smash Face, you guys played at the Ohio Death Fest.
Mhm.
I remember that. And then obviously Perverse Suffering, you did a studio recording of. I don't what is
Yeah.
that? It's not it's maybe it was a bonus track. I mean I have it, but
I
the
think
first
it was for some kind of uh, tribute CD or something like that. I can't remember it. Or
Oh, okay, could be,
yeah,
yeah.
collection CD or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it was for, but yeah, it was cool. And it
Now,
was a
what is
different song. It was a different song, of course, with George on vocals. So
yeah,
it was pretty hard to sing that song.
what is
But
your
I think
so you being that a fan of Cannibal? What's your take on Cannibal nowadays? Are you a guy that you still like every album, or do you have a cutoff for them, or what's your take on them now?
of course I greatly respect them still because
Uh
they're still one of the OGs, of course. And I must say I don't listen to that much anymore.
huh.
Um, the older albums, of course, yes, but the newer albums, not that much. But the older albums, I still quite frequently play. But the newer albums, yeah, I don't know. It's still
What is
good,
like?
but it's still
Have
it's
you?
still very good. But sometimes you lose a little bit of interest.
Yeah,
Shit happens, man.
have you heard every album though?
I heard every album, yeah, but I cannot remember any album, of
Well,
course.
okay,
But
but
I heard
so
it
yeah, I hear you.
one
But
or two
like,
times.
what would you say is the last album by them that you actually know? Like, you can name songs off of, you recognize, like you. What would you say?
I
Like,
think it's Vile.
oh, okay. You didn't even make it up to
Yeah,
Gallery of Suicide and Bloodthirst and all that.
yeah, I did, but I think Vile was better. It was a better album,
Okay.
so it had a better impression on me. So that's why I keep playing that album, of course. But yeah,
Well, it's
Vile.
funny because
Vile was fucking amazing.
guys like yourself that were like a fan of Cannibal before George was even in the band. In my opinion, you're one of the few guys that even liked anything that George was on. Because most guys that I know that were in the early '90s and they already were Cannibal fans, I would say
Hmm.
90% of them they don't like anything with George. Everything that likes George shit is they were younger.
Yeah, I think that's really strange because George is, I think he's still the best death metal vocalist on the planet, in my opinion. So it's really strange to say you dislike him. What do you dislike? Do you
Well,
dislike his
okay,
tone or
so
dislike his? It's a strange thing to say for me because he's fucking amazing.
yeah, I agree. But a lot of guys that tell me they're not saying they like dislike George. They're like
No,
he
no, but
just wasn't. They're
what
like
they
they
do
what they
what they
say
like.
is no. But what they say is that they say it's not the same band. They're like he's to me he's the singer for Monstrosity. Like it didn't fit Cannibal. That's what a
Mhm.
lot of guys would say to me.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think was a really bright move from Cannibal to do that because he got a really fresh new vocalist with a different style. I think it gave Cannibal Corpse a really good boost.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, it was a really good thing to do.
Well, business
So,
wise, it definitely worked out because look how damn
yeah,
popular
but
they are now.
you have always people complaining when there's a vocal change or guitar player change or whatever. Yeah, things like that happen. You don't have control over it, so don't complain about it. Yeah,
Well,
that's.
I'm one of the. I guess I'm one of the complainers.
Oh, really? Yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
yes and no.
shit happens,
Yes and
man.
no.
You cannot do anything about it. You cannot change it. So why nag about it? That's what I
But
think about it.
the thing is, I don't complain about necessarily there being a change. If and there's some bands that do this that pull it off really well, especially a vocalist. When a band changes the vocals,
That's
I don't
of
like
course
it
it's
when
true.
they get somebody that's drastically different. I'm like, this isn't even the same style. For example, like Malevolent Creation, I like all their albums, but like the ones where Jason's singing on In Cold Blood and
Mhm.
Eternal, I was like, why the hell did you get him singing on? I was like, it's not even the remotely close. It's a completely different style
Yeah,
than
true,
Bret
true.
Hart. I was like, it doesn't. I was like, it makes the band sounds different now. I was like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why didn't you get somebody that
Mhm.
try to imitate a similar style? I get things are not. It's kind of like if you were to replace Morbid Angel with Trey, and you got somebody who's playing completely different. Like you like it doesn't even. It's a different band now. Like, what's the point?
Mhm. Yeah, some people make strange decisions. So you never know what's going on in their side of their heads at that moment. But yeah, I yeah, normally it's preferable to pick a vocalist a little bit in the same style, of course. You're never going to get the same vocals, of course. It would be stupid if you have somebody that sounds exactly the same. But
Yeah.
yeah, it makes more sense when the vocalist is a little bit more in line with the previous vocalist, of course. But yeah, some bands make strange decisions. Yeah, you cannot. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it anymore.
Yeah,
But
but that's that. So that I would say that's where my complaint is on a band that I liked. I was like, if I'm not necessarily complaining that they switched members, I'm just complaining. I'm like, to me, it's not the same band anymore. Like for example, to me, bands like Deeds of Flesh, Sinister, those two come out. I was like, they sound nothing like they used to. I was like, it sounds like a complete. I was like, just start a new band. I was like, it sounds nothing like it used to. Like it's not even remotely close.
Mhm.
At least
Yeah,
I don't
no,
think so.
yeah, 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 that's yeah, yeah. I don't know why they do it, but it's their decision. Is yeah, I don't know what to say about it actually, but
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's more guilty offenders. Bands like Carcass, hell, you even Entombed. Like, what do you like everything by Entombed?
no, not everything. There are some little bit less albums, but most of the albums are good. Also, some of the new albums I like, newer albums,
Okay, so I'm
but yeah,
surprised you even like
the vocal.
those.
You mean you're digging at the vocals of Clandestine? Maybe it was a little yeah, but were not the best vocals of Clandestine in my opinion.
I
But yeah,
agree.
it still suited the music. But yeah, it would be better if LG had sung the second album. I think yeah, yeah, that would be better. But yeah, shit happens, man.
Right, I get
Shit
it.
happens, and it will happen again. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes shit happens in your life where you don't have control about. Yeah.
yeah. Well, what are you guys doing with Severe these days? You guys, because it seemed like, I mean, shit, I didn't look at the math, but there's after the first two albums, it seemed like there's a pretty big gap between album years.
Yeah, we're pretty slow riders.
Is that just because
That's
you
the
guys?
whole reason.
Is that just
That's the
because you
whole
guys are
reason.
like, hey, I just wait for it to come and however long it takes to think of something, and then we
Yeah,
go with
yeah,
it.
indeed. We don't want to force it, so yeah, it just takes a little longer. We're just slow guys with a fast band. So
So do you at the moment do you have anything written for another album, like even one song or nothing even at the moment?
yeah, Patrick already has a few riffs, a few songs. So we're gonna see what's that gonna be about. And this morning they rehearsed, but I couldn't make it because I had to work. But I think they played some new shit this morning already, so I will check it out.
A lot of you guys work on. Seth does the same thing. You guys are go getters over there. I like it. You guys work on Sundays.
Yeah, yeah. I work in shifts, so it goes through all the week. Sometimes I have to start at Sunday. Sometimes I have to start at Thursday or Friday, Saturday. It really rotates through the month.
Okay,
So
because dude, over here in the States, forget getting any of these pussies working a Sunday. You can barely get them working Monday through Friday over here. Bunch of
yeah,
lazy bitches over
when I
here.
was younger, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do this job also because I want to go out on the weekend. But now I'm
Uh,
getting older, and yeah, I don't go out that many times anymore. So now it's viable to work in these conditions
were
and
you
have a good pay.
are you married now?
No, no, I'm single.
Okay, you never had kids either.
No, no.
Okay, okay, because but everyone else is like because Seth's definitely married. Patrick's married too, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what about
Patrick is married, no children. Thijs is with Linda, no children. And then we have Marvin, he has three kids. And
okay,
then Damien also has two kids. And
okay,
Seth, but he's not in the band anymore, of course, but he has also two kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so, so you're the only one with. Do you don't have a girlfriend either?
No.
Man, aren't the severe torture groupies hitting you up?
This severe torture groupies. I wish no. There aren't any. There aren't any. We're not that.
It's funny because you hear those stories and like, for example, let's say, okay, pull this way. Like I'm married, right? If I was in a band, my wife would let's say I was in the band Severe Torture, right?
Mhm.
My wife would automatically assume like, oh, dude, you're going to be getting all these groupies and stuff. So that's an assumption by a lot of people. Hell, even crossed my mind. So you're telling me over all the years of severe torture, like it's never helped you get a girl ever?
Yeah, I did, of course, but
Okay.
it's not like I play in Kiss, you know.
No, I knew it wasn't going to be that level, but I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't know if it helped. So, okay, so it's safe to say it does help at least a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but maybe a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know. There's
Okay.
some. I have no idea. Maybe there are some girls that think you're in the band that you're a cheater or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how people look like that. So I have no
Yeah.
idea.
But are they, now at the shows, you know, even myself, but you're even older than me, we're considered like the old guys. So do you think that the girls are like, oh, that's just some old guy up there?
Yeah, maybe. I'm getting a little gray though, but
Yeah, yeah.
I yeah, but also the audience is a little getting older. Especially when you go
Yes,
to a metal festival in the Netherlands, it's a hard time spotting any youthful people.
it's
So
getting there. Yeah.
yeah, it's getting dinosaur level of people. But yeah, shit happens, man.
Well,
I hope that I
with
hope
that being
still
said,
yeah.
with that being said, are you aware of the phenomenon then that it gets talked about on the channel quite often because it gets brought up? If you meet an average kid of today who's young and they say death metal is brought up or they bring it up, do you know what they consider death metal?
What they consider death metal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like, bro, I like slaughter to prevail and
yeah, indeed,
motionless and
indeed.
white and all this shit. You're like, who? You're like, what the fuck?
I know the band, of course. It's but yeah, I think it's good for them if they have fun with it. I think it's very good. Also, yeah, there have
But
to
what
be
you're,
some newer bands to attract some new young folks,
you know,
And
and I get that, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how do they?
Otherwise, it gets stale.
But I mean, if they think that's death metal, what would they think if they heard real death metal?
Yeah, but yeah, that's their version of death metal they grew up with. So I don't know. Maybe they like it. I hope they like it. The older stuff, but yeah, the newer stuff is a little bit more modern, of course. It looks, yeah. I understand it has a big appeal, of course, more than some old guys playing on the stage. But yeah, I think they're doing a good job getting some new folks into metal. I think it's good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, have you ever come across that? Like maybe even outside of a show where it got brought up because you're wearing a cannibal shirt or whatever, and a kid comes up to you and like, hey, bro, like talks death metal, and then he starts mentioning all the bands, and you're like, I've never even heard of this stuff. Like, is that ever? Because it's happened to me, and I'm like,
No, 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 it never happened to me before. No.
okay, because they're mentioning stuff. I'm like, dude, I've never even heard of these bands. And they're like, well, who do you listen to? And I'll just start naming all obvious shit: Cannibal, Deicide, Morbid Angel, Immolation, Mortician, Incantation, like shit, like the obvious ones. Like I'm like, oh, surely you know who
Mhm.
these bands are. And he's like, never heard of them. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's maybe because it's too old, of course. Yeah, but yeah, there is a reason for it. It has to show up in your feed, and when you're younger, maybe you have a different, yeah, I don't know, maybe different feed and all that stuff. You get different things in your timeline,
Yeah,
and yeah, man, that's how it goes.
it is. Are you up to snuff with all the current shit? Like, let's say Instagram and all that. Like, are you
No, not at all.
okay?
I'm a no social media guy. I don't have
No, so
anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I'm a
again,
pretty secluded guy.
okay.
No, I
Yeah.
don't have any social media. I don't like it actually. I used to
Okay.
have back in the day. I used to have MySpace, but yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't have any of that stuff. Well, technically, I have an Instagram that I don't even manage. I have somebody else manage, and then obviously I do the
Hmm.
YouTube channel. But all this, even the YouTube channel, it's just now 4 years old. But Hell's Headbangers, me and my brothers, actually, we started it the year we met you. We started in 2001, so we've been doing it 25 years. And
Nice man,
so I
doing a good job.
started the channel 4 years ago in 2021. At the end of 2021, and that was just for business. Like, other than that, if I wasn't doing business, I wouldn't have social media at all. I think I don't like it whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. I never liked it, and I will never like it. Actually, it gives you a false sense of reality, in my opinion.
Not only that, it seems like it gets a lot of people in trouble too, especially if they have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah, and a lot of job apply when you apply for a job. There's a lot of guys that check your social media and all that stuff. And if you have some strange pictures on it, it can influence the outcome of your yeah of the talk, of course. But yeah,
And it's funny. It's like I never even been in that scenario because the last time I had to apply for a job was over 20 years ago. So it's funny. I didn't even consider that. But yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, they just look at your social media. What kind of guy is this?
yeah, yeah. That's a lot of bosses do that nowadays. So you have to be careful what you post, of course.
Yeah,
But yeah, don't have a problem, don't have it.
yeah,
So easy McPeasy.
yeah. Were you doing before you joined Severe Torture? Then were you doing any other bands that recorded any demos or anything?
No, no. Severe Torture was the first serious band. Before that, I did some local small bands, but it was never anything interesting. And we
So
didn't ever record anything. So
how did you get did you audition for Severe or did you know the guys prior like you were already friends or
yeah, I met them on Dynamo on the festival. like a
Yeah, you met him there, but like how
yeah.
often, how far after that
And
did you?
and at the festival, they gave me a address because they were looking for a singer. And then when I came home, I called Thijs and I said, I want to have an audition. And then I auditioned, and then I became the vocalist. It was in
Okay.
'98. I think it was in June something, June '98, something like that. Long time ago.
Now, so it wasn't long at all then. You're joining, you're start just joining this new band, and it's a few years later, you're flying over to the US. Like, keep
Yeah,
in
it was
mind,
amazing.
like we just said earlier, like a band like Denial of God, who I'm bringing to the US, right? They've been around since '92 and they still never been to the US. So what I'm getting at, there's lots of bands that never got that opportunity. You're getting it
Hmm.
3 years later after joining the band. What are you guys thinking as young kids? Like, fuck, we get like
Yeah, we were totally amazed that it would happen. We were so excited to go there, and we couldn't wait to go there. It was amazing, amazing time. So yeah, it was quite the road trip. Like to say, it was yeah like 4 or 5 weeks with the United States with Diesel Flash and this gorge, and
yeah,
this about it was amazing. And
yeah, yeah.
we were so excited because we couldn't believe that we were going to the United States to go on tour. So that's how it went.
When you did those, because I remember those bloodletting tours, yeah, with Deeds and all that. Was there a particular state or city that stood out the most for you guys, like playing, like fans or anything experience that just to your memory that comes to your mind, like that was really cool? Is there any one off that comes to your mind
Yeah,
directly?
the New England Metal Fest we played there was really good.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it was a big festival. Many bands there. It was really cool. Um, and we arrived like an hour before the show,
Uh,
and we were driving with Disavowed as well, and they arrived like a half an hour before the show. We went there, and they had to play immediately. We drove like 1,000 miles from the different show to that show. It was quite sick, but it was really amazing. Big festival, a lot of people, good crowd. And the other show was, of course, Ohio Deathfest. And then let's remember, um, shit, man. Like I told you, I drank too many beers when I was young. Um, good shows. Phoenix was a good show. Remember? Yeah, yeah. It was an all ages show, man. Back then, I don't know if you still have them, but back then there were a few all ages shows, man.
yeah, I mean, back
That's
then, even
something
back then,
you do not have in Europe.
what's funny is I don't even know how common it is here because I remember somebody asking me like, "Oh, is it an all ages show?" I'm like, "Isn't everything?" And then when I looked at it, I'm like, "Oh, they're not anymore." It's because I don't pay attention because I know my old ass is getting in, so I don't even look at it. But
Yeah, I remember because
I think it's less common than I believe, and who knows? Maybe that's why I don't see too many 17-year-olds at shows and shit anymore. You see some, but not many.
yeah, I remember it was we weren't even allowed to drink beer backstage. We
Well,
had to drink
technically
it
here,
like sneaky somewhere that nobody saw. It was really strange. Yeah.
uh,
And that was something that, oh yeah, it was a few shows that you had like all ages. It was a Canadian show as well, I believe. But
so in
yeah, it was
Holland, right? So in Holland right now, you're telling me majority of the death metal show or just metal shows, if you go to it, it's not what is it, 18 and over or 21 and over?
now it's 18, but when we were younger, it was 16. And yeah, our parents didn't care that much that we drank beer, and nobody in the bars gave a shit. Everybody sold you beer when we were young. I remember it was like 14, 15 years old when we first went to the bars, and yeah, back then nobody really cared that you drank beer.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now we
okay.
have to be 18. Now they're way strict. Now you have to show ID and all that stuff. But when we were younger, you didn't have to do that all that stuff.
Well,
So
you realize the drinking age here is 21, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty
It,
high.
what's funny is I heard, don't quote me, but I think it's true because two people said it. I'm like, that can't be true. And I don't know how long it's been going on, at least in the state of Ohio, but I think the entire country. So everyone in
Is
the
it
comments,
countrywide? Yeah, is it
no, but
countrywide?
they changed this law that I didn't know until recently. So everybody in the comments, chill out. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I had like two people say this in the past year or two. The to smoke tobacco, the legal age to buy that is 21 now too.
Okay. Oh,
That's why I was
okay.
like, what? I was like, that can't be because it was always 18. To smoke,
Mm-hmm.
it was 18 here, and then
Mm-hmm.
drinking's always been 21. Well, it's not when my parents were kids and shit. I'm sure it was younger, but it's 21 ever since I've been alive to drink. But I heard it like in the last year by two different people. Like, no, you got to be
Mm-hmm.
20. You got to be 21 now to buy cigarettes. I'm like, really? I was like, when the hell did that change?
Okay, that's a little harsh as well.
That's what I was like. But kids, get this, dude. But yet you could go in the military at age 18 and go die in war. It's like so
Yeah,
you're allowed to go fight for your country and die in war, but you're not allowed to buy cigarettes or alcohol. How the fuck does that make sense?
yeah, and you can drive a 3-ton truck when you're 16, but you cannot
Right.
drink alcohol. That's
Exactly. Yeah, it seems
I
like
find
what
that,
the
I
hell that
find that
doesn't make
very strange.
sense.
You should
Yeah.
expect that the other way around, like 18 drinking and then 21. 18 drinking and then 18 driving. It's way more logical than 21 is way too old.
I
It's way too
agree.
old.
I that is excessive. I think so too. Yeah, it's because it's like at 18 you're either an adult or you're not. If you're
Yeah,
an
but it
adult, then
doesn't
why?
make any. Yeah, that's what I think. It doesn't make any sense. You're considered an adult at 18, but you're not
Yeah,
allowed to drink. So that's like what?
right.
Yeah, you're legal. You're legal for everything except smoking. So except drinking. Sorry, but
Well,
that's
apparently smoking now. Apparently smoking now too. That's the
and,
last I heard. So
and what
apparently it's
about pot
both.
then? And what about marijuana then? It's also 21 then.
You know what? I don't know because since it was, I'm going to guess because
I'm gonna guess it's the same as
since it was
tobacco
legal.
probably.
Yeah, since it was legalized, this is only in the last couple of years that it was legal in the state of Ohio. And I don't know what the age is, but I mean, there's no way. I highly doubt you could go in as a 16-year-old and buy it. I'm assuming it's at least 18 or 21. That'd be my guess.
Mm.
But again, me being my 40s, I don't pay attention to any of this shit because I don't even think about it. You know?
But yeah, it's strange. Sometimes strange rules, man. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
the difference between the States and Europe. They have so many different rules.
Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you're not allowed to drink a beer on the sidewalk in the States, that's right?
Correct. Yeah. You can't
Yeah,
walk around just drinking a beer. No.
and I live pretty close to Germany, and Germany is just regular, it's just normal.
Yeah.
When you have a weekend, you take a beer, you walk on the sidewalks, no problem at all. So you have so
Yeah.
many different rules, man. It's incredible.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah, Dennis, I don't want to keep you too long. We've been on just over an hour. Is there anything that you wanted to mention or talk about or shout out while you're here, while I have you here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Burial guys, man. Looking forward to see them again. So long time, and it was a great time we had back then on the Ohio Deathfest. So
Yeah.
give a shout out to them. Looking forward to see them again. And of course, stay fucking metal. And for the rest, stay cool, man.
Yeah. So then all you guys in the comments, put in the comments again, if assuming you come out to Dead by Dog Volume 2, August 1st, tickets description
That would be
box.
awesome, man. That would
I'll
be
say
awesome.
put in the description box if you want to see severe torture for Dead by Dog Volume 3 in 2027. Put it in there if you want to see it, and then yeah, I mean obviously we could probably make that happen.
Would be amazing, man. Would be cool to play a festival.
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, and then you could say hi to the Burial guys there because I'm sure they'll, especially
Yeah,
if you
that
guys
would
are
be
playing, I'm
fucking
pretty
amazing.
positive they'll come.
That would be fucking amazing. We can drink some beers. Would be really cool.
Yeah. All right,
Old
Dennis.
stories, man. Old stories.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, it's good
Cool.
talking to you, dude.
Yeah, you too, man.
And
Thank you
yeah,
for having me.
absolutely, man. Hit me up if you
Yeah,
ever
man.
need
Take care.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
take care,
man.
bro. Later.
Yo, bye bye. Yo.
Bye.